Hello friends, this is Joy and I'm here to show you a necklace that I made with the Glacial Glimmer box, which is December's bargain bead box. And this is the woven necklace that I showed you all in my creative corner. And some of you said that you'd like to see how I made it, so I'm going to do my best to show you that. So let's get started. All right, let's look at what we're going to use from the box in this project. We are going to use the crystal faceted rondelle beads in the powder blue AB. We're going to use that strand. We're going to use the 4mm crystal faceted bicone beads in the matte white AB. We're going to use the English cut crystal rondelle beads in crystal AB, just a couple of those, just two I think. And then we're going to use the Malaysia Jade dyed quartz rounds in the ice blue color. I love this color. So we're going to use those. Then we're going to use one of our clasps, the swirled hook and eye clasps. And we are also going to use some of the chain that we got, the Figaro chain. And then items that I am also going to be using will be Fine 2482, that's the clamshell bead tips, a crimp bead, or two, I guess, several, and that's 2529, and then a couple jump rings, ring 111. All right, so let me get some of this stuff out, and then we'll start putting it together. Okay, so to get started, I got out all of my different beads, and I've counted them out. We are going to need about 50, I think it's 52 of these rondelles. We need 15 of the gemstone beads, and then 2 of the English cut beads, and it's 16 of the bicones. So that's what we're going to start with, and we're going to start by getting our thread. I'm using the Eslon Fire braided fused bead thread that I picked up at Hobby Lobby. I'm not saying that's the best thing, it's just what I have, and that's what I'm using. I also picked up a bead weaving needle at Hobby Lobby, and it's the kind that splits open in the center, and you can just stick your thread through like that. So that's what I'm going to do. I just cut a piece that is extra long so that I have plenty to work with, and I'm just going to thread that in there so that it just makes it easier to pick up the beads and work with the beads. And we're going to start at one end and work to the other end. So I'm going to start by putting on, at one end, I'm going to start by putting on a a clamshell bead tip. And we're going to thread it on there and grab one of our crimp beads and stick it through and back through here. So it just kind of holds it in there. And you can crimp that bead down so that it stays really good, but you also want to knot it on there so that it stays really well. So I'm going to just knot that bead in there. Okay, just going to tie a double knot. So for those of you who know what you're doing, that have been making bead woven things for ages, there's probably some things I'm not going to do that are like, perfectly standard or the way that you're supposed to do it. I kind of learn as I go, and so if there's a better way to do a thing, sorry if I'm not doing it the best possible way, but this is the way that I figured out to do it. And so I'm just going to show you what I did, and I kind of made up this pattern as I went, and so it may be a little rough, but we'll just see how it goes. I'm going to tape down my thread, just this little clamshell, so that it doesn't move around while I'm trying to work with it. I just like to do that. It makes it easy for me if things aren't trying to fly away. All right, so I'm going to start at the beginning part. I just strung some beads at the very beginning, starting with the rondelles. One rondelle and one Malaysia Jade bead, and one rondelle. And another Malaysian jade. Let's go ahead and pull it all the way to the end so we can see what we're doing. And you are going to have to like hide your end in there somewhere, however you like to do that. You can trim it shorter or just hide it in these beads. Obviously, I'm going to go ahead and string mine on there so that it hides it. Well, maybe. It has already been a very long day for me. I hope you guys are having a good day wherever you are. It is cold out, but I'm loving it. I actually really like cold weather, especially when it's just also sunny out. It's been a really pretty day, and the frost this morning was just gorgeous. All right, next one, we're going to do another rondelle. I think what I did was four Malaysia jade and 4 rondelles at the beginning part here. And I should have thought about this tail end because it's going to drive me nuts. I think I'm not going to stress over it, and I'll just trim it at this point, but I'm going to leave it there. So if you're like, you forgot your tail, that's because I'll trim it later. It's not a big deal. Okay, so then rondelle, and then until we have the beginning part that we want. And of course, since these are all different, you can pick which one you want where and how you want it to look, but I am just doing mine randomly right now. Gosh, my nails are really jacked up. Sorry, guys. I didn't even get around to filing them. Ooh. We did Costco's or Sam's trip today, and I probably snapped a couple nails on the boxes, carrying everything in and out of the house. Okay, so now we have 4 of those Malaysia jade rounds and then 5 of the rondelles. And this is where I'm going to put on the English cut crystal as like my transition bead. And then we're going to start actually weaving. So I'm going to pick up a couple of these. I might move this bucket so I don't keep reaching over. That probably would really help. Okay. I'm going to string on 3 rondelles. And then, it's very long. I probably cut it way longer than I needed to, but that's what I did. And I'm going to go back through the very first one that I strung on to make them all kind of gather together. How bad is it if I bump into this microphone? Because I keep hitting it with my hand. Will the sound pick it up?
I don't know. Just keep going, I'll let you know.
Okay. Okay, so then I've just pulled that tight, and then I'm going to put on the bicone bead as kind of just like to break up the pattern. I just think that makes it look really pretty. All right, and then we're going to do, we are doing 4 of the bicones and 1 of the Malaysia jade beads, and now I'm trying to remember if I put all 4 on or if I just did 2 and 2. So we're going to find that out, because like I said, I made this as just kind of made it up as I went, and so I don't remember exactly what I did. It's really fun. I'm like that with cooking too. Anybody else like that? You're like, I will kind of use something to guide me, and then I just make it up, and it may not ever end up the same again. Like I may never make a thing twice. My husband often is like, did you follow a recipe or did you write this one down because it's really good and I'd like to have this again? And normally it's like, no, tough luck. So yeah. All right, so I'm going to go back in through this first bead and see if that makes the shape that we're going for. Whoa, everything's flying everywhere. Okay, let me see if I can do it, and if not, then I will have to figure out which way I did it. I should have probably not made that so long, goodness. Okay, that is what I did, looky there. That looks like it's supposed to, yay. And my goal was for it to kind of hang sort of sideways, and so that is exactly what it's doing. All right, so then we got our bicone to separate from the next pattern of 3 little rondelles. And it's, at this point, we're going to repeat the same 2 things a couple times. So we'll put on our 3 rondelles. And go back through the first one. And then I just kind of hold it tight while I pull through so that it keeps my pattern nice and tight. But I don't want it so tight that things can't move around, because the movement of this necklace is one of the pretty things about it. Isn't that pretty? I like it. All right, find the end of my thread again. Runaway beads. I think I need to invest in some like cute little trays for when I'm doing this. Hopefully y'all can see the thread better this time. We put a darker background down so that we can see what we're doing. So here goes our next bicone. La la la. All right, and then we're going to do our 2 rondelles, 1 round, and then 2 more rondelles. I think it would be cute to have little bead trays to hold the little beads in. Oh, look at that. I've gone and tied myself a knot. See, I knew my thread was too long. Good job. We'll be back in just a second. Okay, we got the knot out. We're going to go right back to what we were doing, and that was putting 2 rondelles on, 1 round, and 2 more rondelles. You know, it does make it more fun to work with beads when they're so pretty to look at. I think that's most of the reason why I like making things with beads, is just it is pretty, and then it makes me feel productive when I make them into pretty useful things too. Let's see if I can get this to pull through without tying another knot. All right. So then I just like to hold that top bead, the one that I went through again, just kind of hold it down and then pull my thread tight. And that kind of makes everything tighten up. Yay. Okay. Next is a bicone bead. I apologize for the squeakiness of my chair. Okay, 3 rondelles. Okay, so we're stringing these 3, and then we're gonna go back in that first bead, and like I said, just hold it still while you move the thread through to tighten everything up. Okay, and the way that I did this before, I think I did 3 drops and then a center drop. So this is our 3rd drop before we do the one that is more centered, and then we're going to start going back the other direction. So put this bicone in there to separate it, and then I'll do the 2 rondelles, the 1 Malaysia jade, 2 more rondelles, and pull that through. And we'll just go back through that first one and pull tight. Okay. So this will be the last triple, the last little group of 3 we do before we do our center cluster. Of course, you could make this a different length if you want, but I find this works pretty perfect for me. It comes kind of mid-chest on me. That doesn't sound right at all. Not mid-chest, but like, how do you describe where a necklace falls? I should just tell you how many inches it is, but I don't know, so. It's not at most of my collars. It's higher than most of my shirt collars. So mid-neck? I don't know. If I work in this business, I probably should learn what things are called, huh? There's a name for necklace lengths, but of course, I always forget things if I'm supposed to remember them. Like right in the moment where it would be most useful, I will not remember the things. So... do I remember the names of necklace lengths right now? I do not. All right, so here we go. We're going to, on this one, for the center, we're going to do 2 bicones together, which makes just a tiny bit more separation, which is kind of fun. Makes it look different. All right, and we're going to do 5 of the little bicones instead of 4. So we're going to start with 3. 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to do our Malaysia jade bead. And then we're going to do 2 bicones. 1, 2. Okay, and pull them through till we get them where we want them. Okay, and then I'm just going to go back through the first bead again, which will make it fall more centered. Hold that bead tight and pull through. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm hoping that I'm showing it well enough that you can see what it looks like. And yeah, there you go. So that one makes more of a circular drop, and these ones are more angled in, and so we want our drops on this side to be angled in the opposite direction. So we're going to start doing them a little differently so that happens. All right, so we've finished the centerpiece and we've stuck our 2 bicones on the other side, and now we're going to do the cluster of 3 together. So I've got my 3 bicones on here, not bicones, rondelles. Get the names right. All right, and then we go back through the first one. And after this is where our pattern is going to change just slightly. We're using the same number of beads, but we're going to put them on in a different order so that the pattern will start to face inward on this side. If we did it the same as this side, then all of the beads would be pointing the same direction, and we want them to kind of face the center. Okay, so crystal bicone next to space out our pattern. And then we're going to do our new pattern of beads. So for this side, we're doing 3 and 1. That's kind of how I'm remembering it. Instead of 2 rondelles and then a Malaysia jade round and 1 more rondelle, we're doing 3 rondelles, a Malaysia jade round, and then 1 rondelle after that. So it's like a 3 and 1 kind of pattern. So it looks like this on your strand. Ooh, it looks like I need to move over so that you guys can see. I'm going to move my tape so that I'm not working off of the area here. Okay. All right, that's better. So this is what it'll look like on your strand. You'll get your bicone spacer, you'll have your 3 rondelles, 1 round, and another rondelle. And then you're going to go back in through that first rondelle. Again, that is the same thing that we do every time, going through the first one. And then pulling tight. And so once we pull that snug, it will kind of set so that that round points inward toward our center. I'm going to pull that a little tighter. Okay, perfect. Now we need our bicone spacer. Pull that on there, and we'll do our group of 3 rondelles. 1, 2, and 3. Sometimes I think I'm going to just end up with all of this on the floor. Okay, and then back through that first bead to pull it tight. So we'll do the same number of little drops on this side as we did on the other side. So we did 3. Ooh, that got loose. Hang on. Let's tighten that up. So if it gets loose like that, it's okay. You just loosen it back up and slide that bead over, hold it tight against your other beads, and then pull. It's totally okay. You can pull out all that slack, and it works itself out. Isn't that great? Okay. So after that, then we'll do our next drop, and we're doing the pattern of 3 and 1 on this side. So we do our 3. Ho, ho, ho. You know what I almost forgot again? The bicone. Do not want to forget my bicone. I had originally done this pattern without the bicones in it. I did just more of the rondelles, and it just looks a lot better with those bicones. So I highly recommend, if you don't like the bicones, use some kind of bead to space, just so that it breaks the pattern up a little bit. It really helps a lot. So we're doing our 3 rondelles, our 1 Malaysia jade round, and 1 more rondelle on there. Pull it through. And then go back through the very first rondelle and pull tight. And it gets trickier to get it tight as the patterns gets longer. As it gets longer, it's tricky to pull tight, but you can still do it. Just kind of fidget around with it until it feels the tightness that you want. I think that's doing what I want. Oh, I didn't go back through the first one. Look at that. I went through the second one. No, I didn't. I went through the first one. What am I thinking? Okay. It looks funny, though. Give me a second. I gotta make sure this looks right. Yeah. I think we're good. I hope so. You'd be like, Joy just taught us how to do this, but she did it wrong. That would be fun. No, it's right. It's just harder to hold it tight. Okay. All right, so we have our spacer. Then we're going to do our cluster of 3 rondelles. Go back through here. It was getting away from me, you guys. Okay. Just fidgeting with it till I get it the tightness that I want. Okay. And we have one more of these drops to do, but we can't forget our spacer bicone. Put that one on there next. All right. I'm going to do 3 rondelles, a round bead, another rondelle. Okay, this is our last drop. We're going to put this on here. We've got our 3 rondelles, our 1 round, and another rondelle. And then we will go back through that first rondelle, hold it nice and taut, and pull the thread through until it's how tight we want it. But not too tight so that the pattern doesn't flip up. That's kind of the thing with it. You gotta mess around with the tightness. All right, so this is our last of our bicone spacers. And our last little cluster of 3 bicones. Nope. Rondelles. I always do that. Start calling things different things than they are. All right. And we'll go back through the first rondelle and pull it tight. All right. That's our cluster. And now we get to repeat the pattern that we did at the beginning to finish it off. So we're going to go back with that English cut crystal. Put it on there. And then rondelle around onto the floor. Now, rondelle, round, rondelle, round. That one was attached. Rondelle, and then the round, and then let's see how many we have. I think we need 1 more of our rounds, so we'll have 1 more rondelle, 1 more round, and the last rondelle. Very last. And then we will, let's see, that's where we want it, so that it looks the same as the beginning. And now we just need to finish this off, which we're going to grab another one of those clamshell bead tips, wherever I put those. Bear with me. Okay. Got a bead tip. And I know I have a little crimp bead. There it is. Crimp bead. All right, so we'll go through the bead tip, pull it all the way through. We're going to put our little crimp bead on there, and then I'm going to come through the clamshell. I know. See if I can figure this out. through the clamshell without going back through that crimp bead. And then we're going to have to pull it tight and knot it. See if I can do that. I'm not always good at the fussy things. I have to be patient with myself. Almost. Gotta pull this back up through. Got ahead of myself and got it too tight. Ugh. It is really hard to do this so far away from my face. 2 seconds. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing we did with all the beads. We're going to hold that bead tip right up against the beads, and we're going to pull the thread till it's tight. See? That's how easy it is. It's not as bad as I was making it look. I promise. And we're just going to shimmy it till it's tight. Pull till it's tight. And then we're going to just knot it behind the bead tip. And I'm just going to take my needle here, and it's going to help me tie a little knot around the end here. See if I can just tie a knot. Maybe I don't want the needle on there. Maybe it'll be easier without my needle. Pull off the needle. It's just a knot. Why am I making it look so difficult? Hold. Not the thing. Ooh, there we go. Again, with the crazy long thread. I probably cut like double what I needed. So learn from me. Maybe estimate a little less. Not that I helped you with that, because I didn't actually measure anything. Wow. I am not dexterous today. I promise I do things like this all the time, but when it's on video, I can't manage it. All right, one more knot. Okay, so I've tied a couple knots there, so it's nice and secure, and it's hidden, and it looks good. And I'm going to put it back on the needle and weave it back through here, and that way I can trim my ends really well. And then I will be right back to show you how to do the chain ends and the clasp. Okay, so here we have our finished piece, and we're going to cut some lengths of chain to make this big enough for your neck, and that way it'll look really pretty. Then you can cut your chain whatever length you would like to cut it. This is kind of the length that I cut mine on my previous one, and it's about a 3.5 inch amount on each side. That just is what wraps around the back of my neck well. And so I'm just going to grab the Figaro chain and eyeball how much we need, which I think it's about that much. So I'm going to take it apart at this big link right here with my tools. Those are not the right ones. Okay. Just going to take it apart here, open that link up. So we have that length. And I could just use the links to attach it, but I'd really like to use jump rings to attach it, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab another length here. That is so hard to see with all these bright lights. I'm so sorry. It helps y'all see, but it does not help me see. Let's see. Cannot tell where the big link is. Okay, so that link here, this one. Yeah, right there. Okay. And I'm going to open that. No. Behave yourself, pliers. Okay. Meh. Open it up and pull that off. I could just snip it, but I feel like that's wasteful. So I'm going to open and close my links. Okay, close the link. These are really hard to see. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my jump rings. I have 4 jump rings here. Open those up and attach everything. Okay, so we're going to attach this one here and attach this end. Close that. We're going to get our next one. Just some teeny little jump rings. I actually really like these jump rings though. They're nice quality. Okay, and put this on here. Such a pretty toggle clasp. I really like this one. It's really nice and it's easy to use. It's a good one. Okay, so then we're going to open these jump rings on this side. It's nearly impossible to find the opening in this light. Ah, there it is. I'm going to attach this here. There's just like a piece of fuzz. And I threw the jump ring. Okay. Slide that through. Attach my chain. I hope you guys really enjoy this necklace, and I can't wait to see who ends up trying it or some variation of it. I'd love to hear all about that. I'm still enjoying watching everybody's comments and projects that they're doing with this box and the other boxes. Always such neat, pretty things coming through in our Facebook Creative Corner group. So thank you for sharing your designs there. All right, so I'm just closing this one. Make sure it's closed nice and tight. And now we have our finished necklace with a clasp. And let's lay it out so you can really see it and appreciate it. There we go. So pretty. And then with our little chain and clasp. That is our finished piece. Thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with me. I would just love to hear what you think, and please share it with your friends and like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And we will see you next time.